Okay, I believe someone is recording. Okay, who is recording?
Felix.
So today's we are going to be treating is it's called fstab error. So to do with you guys, I'm going to share a list of topics that we are going to be covering all through this topic. And what we'll be doing is we have two schemes. One of the first scheme is covering topics that the first scheme is copying topics that we are going to be troubleshooting here as a Microsoft, and the other scheme is getting to learn.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello.
It's like I'm the only one available for now.
Ah, okay. Tunde, you're off, Abby, or yeah, off the call too, right? Uh, okay, okay.
Okay, is Olumide available?
Please available, but I think it's the other people that dropped, but no problem. They can follow up with the recording. So
Okay.
what we call fstab error are fstab errors are errors that don't allow the Linux machine to boot when they are not properly configured. So this is how it works. If you have a VM, if you have let's say you mount a drive on a VM, you mount the drive on the VM, and the next thing you want to do is you want to ensure that you are able to always access that drive, right? What you do is you take the UUID of the drive and then you put it on the FS tab. So let me explain to you what I'm trying to see. How many of you can see my screen? Please
I
confirm you can
can't
see.
see it. Oh, I can't see it.
I,
You
I
can't see
can't
my
see
screen?
it.
No.
Have you shared it?
Okay, let me share it now. Okay, just let me know if you can see my screen.
Okay.
We can see it.
Okay, that's good. So like I explained to you, fstab is all about we mounting files or disk drive attached to the VMs so that each time we want to access a drive, we don't have to start worrying ourselves about it. Okay, so look at this now. This I'm running this command. It should list out all the drives I have on this Linux machine. So clearly looking at this, you can see that I have a drive here called SDC1 or a drive called SDC, and SDC has been partitioned into 3 or into 4. Can you see all the partitions in of SDC?
Yes. Yes.
So right now you can see also that SDA, which is the hard drive, right, has been partitioned into 2. One is mounted on the boot and the other one is mounted on the forward slash. Can you see that as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, SDB, which is the temporary drive and is 16 gig, has been partitioned into just one partition, and that partitioning is mounted into what? MNT resource. So this is how it works here. The temporary drive itself is not mounted. The reason it's not mounted is usually most of the times is okay. I won't say it's not mounted, but the way the temporary drive is configured in such a way that any document you put there would only stay there for the time being that the VM is not restart or there has been no restart on the VM. So let's do this. Let me take you into what the fstab file looks like so that you have an idea of what I'm talking about. I can hear some people's voice there. Maybe you can turn off your mics. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to explain to everyone. So let me cut the etc fstab. So the fstab file is stored under the etc fstab. So can you see what the fstab file looks like? This file I'm referring to you is you can see it from here. You can see it by doing a cd to /etc, right? Then once you do that, you can list all the files in etc. You can see that we have a lot of files. So what we do is, because we already know where the file is, that's why I just went there straight. Another thing you can do is, you can just, when you are listing the file, you can just grep for fstab. So you can see it tells me that there are two files with fstab itself and fstab.swap. So good. So let me take you back to what I was trying to explain to you. So look at this now. We have how many drives here? We have almost 4 drives. Or in fact, we have 4 drives here. Or let me say three drives in particular. The first drive being SDA, second drive being SDB, and the third one being SDC. So the way fstab works now is this. If you look clearly at the content of the fstab, this is, if you look at here, from this part downward is the content of the fstab, right? So if you look closely, these are the only two which were mounted. This was mounted on the fstab, and this was also mounted on the fstab. Now, in relation to what I was trying to explain to you earlier, if you look at this as well, you see that this is the OS disk, and it has about what, 29.5 gig, and that is the same thing that's being mounted here. And the second one is this, which is the boot drive, which is being mounted here as well. Now look closely at something. The temporary drive, it was mounted on a directory, but it wasn't put on the fstab. The reason why this was done was, is a temporary drive. The moment you put it on the fstab, it means that each time you load the Linux VM, it's going to call out this drive. So the way it is now, if you decide
Sorry,
to remove,
can you say that again? Can you repeat that
so
again?
whenever you mount a drive and you put it on fstab, each time the system is coming up, it's going to look for the drives, right? Those particular drives which you have mounted on the fstab, is going to look for them. And if it doesn't see them, it's going to throw up an error and possibly will not start the VM. But once all the drives are in place, it looks for them, it mounts them, and then it boots the VM properly. But if you look closely to this particular drive itself, the temporary drive, you can see that that drive is not put in on the fstab. It's just only mounted on a directory. So if you see what I'm trying to say here now, there are two ways I'm going to be able to fix this for you. So now I'm going to try and see if I can mount a directory on this. So we all know we have this LSB, okay? Let me try and see now if I can mount SDC1 on a directory. So let me make a directory. I make that directory /Hillary, right? And let me see if I can mount SDC1 on Hillary. It might throw up an error because I know I use this particular partitioning for some things, but let me just see first. If it does, or if it does throw up an error, we can use another drive. So let's do this. Mount device SDC1 on what /Hillary. Okay, it says unknown file system. Yeah, that was because of what I did earlier. So what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to try and create a spare drive, and I'm going to mount that drive. So this is how I'm going to mount the spare drive. So I'm going to come to my Linux machine. Better still, let me do something. Let me use this particular VM for this. Let me use this VM for this. Because what I'm going to do is going to crash and reset the VM. So let me use this VM. Now, please, I need you to take to listen attentively to this particular topic. The reason being that, let me say, a quarter of the cases you're going to get on Linux will be this. So you need to understand how it works. Is anyone getting me?
Yes.
Yeah.
A
Go
quarter
on.
of the cases you get will be about this. So you really need to understand this. So let me add a
Okay.
data disk. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding the disk. Okay, that's good. I've been able to successfully add the disk now. So let me connect to this particular virtual machine. So I'm going to exit this now. Oh, no need to exit this. Just going to create a tab here. Okay, I'm in. So the next thing to do is this. So let's run this command again. So you can see that I just have only an SDC there, right? So I'm going to create a partitioning in SDC. So because it's only whenever you have a drive, you can only mount a partition. You can't mount the whole drive itself. Do you understand? If you look clearly here, you can see SDA is not being mounted. What are being mounted are the partitions of SDA. So I'm going to create a partition in SDC, and I'm going to say to create a partition, all you need to do is to run this command fdisk dev SDC. So you can see it You can't mount the whole drive, Olumide. So I'm trying to create a new partition. I'm just going to use the defaults. So you can see here, it tells me that I've been able to create partition 1 of type Linux, size 3 gig is set, right? And I'm going to write that partition. So you can see I've been able to write the partition. Now, once I run the command lsblk, can you see I can see a partition in here? Do you understand? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a file system on that partition. Yes, I'll explain the steps, but I need to go through this practical. Just give me some time to do this practical. I'm trying to see if I can label this. Let me see if I can label the partitioning. Linux class test. Okay. Let me make it ext4. Okay, let me see. Okay, good. I'm supposed to use only one L. So guys, you can see how I'm following up with the errors, right? I tried it first. It told me that look at this. There's no file system as this. I already knew where my mistake was, so I just added the 4. And when I ran the command, it threw an error. It says something invalid, right? And I knew what I was looking for was label. So I followed that. The next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to correct that label. So I've corrected the label now, and I'm going to run the command. This should work this time around. So you can see it's creating the file system already. So it has finally created the file system on it. You can see the block size, the fragment type. If you want to know if it has created the file system on it, you should run something like lsblk lsblk -f. Now, can you see the fstab is the file system type? And if you look closely, you will see that this is the one we just created, SDC1. You can see the naming we gave it, which is the same name we gave it here. The same name we gave it here is the same name that is appearing here, right? And you can see the UUID. So this UUID is what you mount. If you look this clearly, if you see the fstab file, if you look clearly, what is being mounted is the UUID. So let's say for the boot drive, it's F. F, can you see where F is? Look at this here. And it's being mounted on the boot. Same thing you do here too. The file system is this. That's what you have here. You understand? So the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to create a directory where we are going to mount that file system. I'm just explaining the basics to you. You will still need to go back and do some review. I'll give you some materials on that will really explain this to you. If you have questions, you can also ask me, but I just need to finish up this explanation before this class ends. So the next thing I'm going to do is I create a directory called Hillary. So once I create the directory called Hillary, the next thing I am to do is to mount the new partition which I've just created on Hillary. So it's just like this now. If you look clearly at this, there was a directory that was created called /boot, and SDA1 was mounted on /boot. So what I did now was to create a directory called /Hillary, and that SDC1 will be mounted on /Hillary, so that we can have something like this here, and you should have something like Hillary here. So we'll carry out that by doing this. So we'll say mount dev sdc1 on /Hillary. Can you see the command went successfully? Now, if I run the command lsblk, can you see this?
Yes.
This means I've been able to mount SDC1 on Hillary. Now, if I restart this VM, right, it will no longer be mounted on Hillary. If I restart this VM now, what you would see, you would just see SDC1, but it will not be mounted on Hillary. So if I restart the VM, you still need to come and mount it again on Hillary. I already know this because I've done it severally. So in your test time, what you can do is once you are doing a reproduction of this scenario to understand, you can try it yourself, switch off the VM, and by the time you come back, see that you won't see this directory here again.
Okay.
But the directory will still exist in the VM, but this drive will not be mounted on this directory because this is temporary. So to make it permanent, what we do is that we put it on fstab. That's where fstab comes in. So fstab allows you to be able to mount all your directories, right, on fstab, so that once you do that, you don't need to bother about it again. Each time you restart the VM, you just know that your devices are waiting for you. So I want to carry out that test now. I'm going to mount it, and now to test the real fstab error, which is what you'll be getting when customers really have that issues. You will see them right now. So before I proceed, I would like to create a password for the root. This is what you are going to need to do. So your customers, before they can be able to solve this issue, they need to have a root password.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's a password for the user root. And this password, you should note that this password is not there by default. The customer needs to have configured it. So I'm configuring it now for this VM. You can see it's asking me to put in a new password. I'm retyping the password now. So you can see it says the password has been successfully set. So the next thing I'm to do now is to mount this on fstab. So I just want to copy this UUID out. So voila. I've just copied it to a safe space where I can record it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to edit etc fstab. Now you can see that I have this for what? etc fstab. Right? I believe you guys know how to use the Vim, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know how to use Vim here?
How to use?
Vim. It's an editor.
Yeah.
No, I haven't used it before.
You haven't used it before. So
No.
what I'll suggest you do is you jot that down right now, and then you take that as an assignment and try to see how you can understand how Vim is being used. So
That's VIM. VIM.
VIM editor
Okay.
Linux. Yes.
Please, what was the last command again? The last command.
What I did was I will show you the
You're trying to edit the. You're
fstab
using
file.
Vim. You
Yeah,
were using Vim to edit the fstab file. What's the command again?
I use vim /etc/fstab. Guys, can you see what I'm doing?
Mhm.
So I'm putting in now the file system ext4. I'm going to type here default. I'm going to type here what? Just I'm following everything you have here, right? So you can see I've fully cleared this. So once I have done this, the next thing is to write. So to write on using Vim, I do escape colon WQ. So you can see the command which I last ran. Now let me cut the etc fstab file for you. Now can you see that I have the contents here, right? Now to do a mount test, and show that there's no errors with my fstab, I run the command mount -a. This mounts all the files in the fstab, and if there's an error, it will throw an error for me telling me there's an error with one of the files. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me show you people what I'm trying to say. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to edit etc fstab, right? And I'm going to purposely clear an error here, right? I'm going to put an error here. So remember the last letter here is F, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to delete that letter. I'm going to delete that letter. Let me see if it will throw up an error. So you can see I've removed the letter F, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to write this out now. Now to test if everything is okay with my fstab, I'm going to run the command mount -a. Did you see the error it threw up now?
Yeah.
You can see the error it threw up,
Yes.
Yeah.
meaning that it has an idea of all the file systems on the system. And if it can't find a drive, it will tell you that, look, I can't find this particular drive which you are putting on your fstab. So this is a troubleshooting technique you can use. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to edit the fstab file and I'm going to put back the letter F,
Oh yeah.
right? I'm going to escape and I'm going to save this. Now I run the command again. Can you see I have no errors now?
Yeah.
So the next thing I'm going to do, I've mounted this thing on fstab. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that drive. So this is what customers do. They mount on fstab, right? And they forget that they've mounted on fstab and they dissociate the drive from the VM. Now, the problem with that is when you dissociate the drive from the VM, each time the VM wants to boot up, it will ask, it will look for that drive. Once it can't see that drive, it's going to cause a problem because it needs to be able to load that drive before it can boot up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dissociate that drive from the VM. I click on edit. I do this. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah. Detach.
I'm detaching.
Yeah.
So I'm saving all of this right now. So I'm waiting for it to finish. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reproduce an error for you so that you understand what the customer goes through in case you see a case like this. And by default, you see the symptoms. The symptoms are the errors you are going to see. So it's properly saved now. Can you see here, right? Let me try to mount -a. It should even throw up an error for me. Can you see this?
Yeah.
It's showing up an error for me. Now, the mistake most customer makes is that they don't mount this before they dissociate or before they turn off the VM. So you can see my system is complaining now that it can't see this drive. Whereas I had already mounted this drive on fstab. Now, by the time they take this next step, it's going to stop their view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to restart this VM. So just watch what happens when I try to restart the VM. While this is restarting, I'm going to show you guys public facing articles that you guys can read up on how to add a disk to the fstab. To those of you that were asking me questions, how did I do this? How I was able to go about this? I'm putting up a link now on the chat screen that explains how I was able to do all of this. Please confirm that you can see this link.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you can just go through the link on your spare time to get a better understanding. This class will likely be over in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Hopefully I'll be able to finish what I want to do, and then I'll give you guys a test to do while okay, good. I can see that this VM has successfully restarted. So now let's go back to my machine. Can you see I have a disconnection? Can you all see this?
Yeah.
Can you see there's a disconnection, right? Now
Yeah.
let me try to see if I can go in back, and let me see if it allows me to go in. Did you notice that we are having a delay?
Yeah.
So what error does it what does can you see the error?
Yeah.
Please take note of this error, because this is what your customers will be coming at you with. Can you see this? You can see this, right? So these are the kind of errors you get. The customers will tell you, oh, I can't connect to my VM. It's telling me SSH timed out, or port 22 connection timed out. Now, these are the kind of things that make a VM to time out. So now this is how you are going to guide the customer on how to resolve this issue. So to guide your customers, what you need to do is this. Now you tell them to follow these steps. They go to, you remember the first thing I did was that you should make sure that there is a root password. That was the first thing I informed you. Now, a lot of your customers might forget to configure the root password, so they will not be able to resolve the issue the way I'm going to resolve it now. But if they have the root password, they should be able to do this. So this is how you go into the VM when you have an issue from Azure Portal. Now, the first thing you do is you come to the serial console. For you to be able to use the serial console, you have to have configured what? The boot diagnostics account. I believe you must have thought about that in your Windows training. Yes?
Yes, yes,
Yes? Yes or yes?
Mhm.
Yes or yes?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Save
Can
it.
you see the error I'm having now? Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
yes,
So you can see the error is telling me, right? So see what it says. Give root password for maintenance. Now, also, one of the things you can do is ask your customers to see the serial console logs. Look at this now. If you look at this, can you see this part? Timeout field for device this. Dependency field for Hillary. Dependency field for local file system. Dependency field for relabel all file systems if necessary. Dependency field for migrate local structure to new structure. So guys, can you see this?
Yes.
So for you to be able to fix this error, like I told you, if you have the root password, it will solve this issue for you. So I'm going to press enter now. You can see it says give me root password. So let me see if I can type the root password now. Let me type my root password. Guys, can you see this? Immediately I typed the root password, I was able to get root access into this VM. Now it's only from serial console you can do this. Do you understand? Now, since I already know it's complaining of the error here, what I need to do is I need to be able to go to my fstab and what will I do? Once I get to my fstab, what should I do, guys?
fstab.
Yeah, once I get to my fstab, what should I do
You,
to fix this
you
error?
edit it. You edit it. You edit the drive. I think
Exactly.
you edit the drive.
So what I do now,
Yeah.
let me confirm and see where the issue is coming with. Can you see what it tells me? It still, once I run this command, it still tells me that it can't find this, and this is what is being mounted on what? Hillary.
Mm.
So what I'm going to do is I just run the command to edit etc fstab. So from here I can be able to edit if etc fstab as well, and I run this command to start. So all I need to do is to what? Put an hash sign in front of here. An hash sign will tell the VM to ignore this particular line and see it as a comment. So the next thing I do is escape :wq. I fix the error right now. So if I run mount -a, right, you can see it gives me no error. Are you guys seeing
Okay.
this?
Yeah.
I'm not getting
Yeah.
any error now. So let me try to see if I can connect from here and let me see if it gives me any error again. So one of these issues which you can see is I've been able to fix the error, but my VM doesn't know about it yet. You can see it's still throwing the error to me. So that's to make you know that the next step you need to take after fixing the error is to what? You can guess.
You have to restart the VM.
Good, good. Who is that person speaking?
I
Who is
can.
that? I
I
can.
can.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. So the next thing you need to do is come here. Just come to restart. The reason why you are restarting is you've made some changes on your VM, but your VM the necessary processes which are in charge of SSH and other activities have not taken note of these changes which you have made. So for them to take note of the changes, you need to restart the VM. Now, once you restart it, it's going to also let you know what is going on within the VM. Now, while I'm restarting this, I can come to the serial console. We keep giving me updates on what is going on. Apparently, the restart is even finished. Can you look at this? Can you see what's going on? These are the processes that go on while you are restarting the VM. So it begins to look for all these files. Can you see? A start job is running for this. Can you see? It begins to look at all the files on this VM and it starts loading them. See? Can see there's even a countdown here. Can see there's a countdown here that is going on because why? It's trying to load, it's running a job. And the name of that job is called NIS. Right? You can see. Can you see? Can you see? So can you see that the boot process is finished? And once it's finished the boot process, see what it did? It came back to the login screen. Right?
Okay.
So the next thing I'm going to do now, let me see if my system is aware now. So I do this. Now can you see it gave me access into the VM?
Okay.
And see, I have access into the VM right now.
Yeah.
So the thing is, one thing you need to take note of is the errors. You need to really take note of it. Now we're having earlier at the error we had. So all your customers will tell you is my VM is not, I can't connect to my VM again. It just tells me connection to this. Okay, this was when we restarted the VM. What I want to is, okay, look at the error here. SSH connect to host this port 2022 or port 2 connection timed out. This is all your customer will tell you. But you as the Linux expert, you are the one who will be able to decode that. One of the reasons that could cause this is if the customer has mounted a disk earlier and removed that disk without editing the fstab. Is that clear, guys?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So right now at this time, stop the stream and I'll be commencing the test. So if you have any questions, please jot down your questions, or you can see me one-on-one, or you can even send me a message and you can just even type your questions right now and send them to me as a personally as a message, or you can even send them on the group and I will take some time to answer them back when we resume this class. But for now, I have to end this class. While I'm ending this class, I'm going to post your test questions and you're going to have about roughly 15 minutes to answer those questions. They are just quite easy questions though. Quite easy, I must say. So just hold on while I post your questions. Um, you can stop recording now. Wherever you're recording.
So is it not me the record?